magic for today. We can be the land of a hip and hunting hole. We can be the land of a hip and hunting hole. We can be the land of a hip and hunting hole.
Welcome to the Middle Seats Podcast. Why the middle seats? Because they're the best seats in the house. We are your hosts, Generation Offended and Toller Talks. How you feeling about the Stranger Things finale, Toller?
I do it like New Year, new me. That's all I'm saying. I think my New Year's resolution is I want to try to get more pissed off at all the stupid shit that's coming out, and that includes Stranger Things.
Well, there's a lot of ammunition to go with the finale here. We didn't like it, and I'm sure a lot of you didn't like it either. So let's get into this. We'll start off with just the preamble before the battle here. So Steve has gathered this great plan apparently to get up the radio tower to jump from the tower to Dimension X, and then from there they're gonna go kill Vecna while Max, Callie, and 11 go through the dreamscape and fight him there. So that's there's the two main plot
It's like
lines
a double
happening.
pronged attack. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so right off the bat, I think the radio tower scene was underwhelming, considering they did another death fake out. Right off the bat with Steve falling, off the radio tower and then getting caught by Jonathan. As soon as it cut to black, man, it's like, yeah, he's gonna live. It's fine.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, they got me. I threw my remote at the couch so hard at my family's house that the like back of it where the batteries are, it came off. I was like, the one death we're gonna get is Steve, and I should have known better. I should have like my two characters are Hopper and Steve, right? I should have known better. It was going to be a fake out, and it was. But I was like, hey, at least you got me with that one. Congratulations.
Oh, really? That's real. I think we had the opposite reaction in my house. Everyone was like, "He's fine." Like as soon as he fell, everyone was like, "That's fine." Yeah, no, I had zero belief that anyone would die. I was like, they might kill one character, and I knew it was going to be Kali because they had to keep their pattern going, right?
Yep.
Introduce the
Yep.
character that has no connection to anyone except one person in the cast, and then kill them off, and you have your fake stakes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're
Which
just keeping form.
which I didn't hate. I noticed there at the beginning you said you didn't like it. I want to kind of correct the record. Not saying that the offended is necessarily wrong. There was a lot of aspects I didn't like, but I think I find myself more in the middle. But I'm also of the mind that like I've been a huge fan of the show for years, not only just as a viewer myself, but because it's a bridge between my daughter and I. It's something we bonded over. So I give it a little bit more benefit of the doubt than most would. But the thing is that me being that person, I should have loved season 5 because it was the end, and I didn't. And I should have loved the finale, and I didn't. So I think that's a big issue. But I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I wouldn't say I did like it. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle there. So yeah, the Steve death got me because I am that invested.
Yeah, for me, I'm on the opposite spectrum. Being the far leaning hatred of the show. I used to love season 1. It was obviously I think the first season's really good. Up there with some of the best seasons of television probably out there. But it's just gradually gotten worse with every season. Season 2 was not as good. Season 3 was bad. Season 4 was horrible. And season 5, we're talking like dog shit. So, I understand people's emotional investment in the characters. I mean, they've been around for a decade, so it's kind of hard not to be invested. But yeah, I don't know. I think they've betrayed me too many times. I feel like the battered housewife that's gone to therapy and finally fallen in love with her therapist. I'm getting out of the relationship. I've found a way out. And that's they're watching Pluribus, which is a much better show. Anyone listening, highly recommend
I've
Pluribus.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a way. If you need to watch some sci-fi story, that is a much better character-driven show than Stranger Things is. Way less spectacle, way more intimate. Everything that Stranger Things needs, that show has. So, yeah, highly recommend Pluribus.
Very well.
Okay, Well, so we're getting into the so they get into the Dimension X. I thought it was kind of funny that I mean, I'm willing to give a little leeway with the stupid behavior of the characters and the convenience to some level, right? Because every show and especially action film
Especially
has
horror
that.
too, yeah.
Yeah, there's like the little stupid thing you can okay, fine, whatever, I'll let you have it kind of thing. But what was their plan exactly with getting from the tower into the dimension if they were just completely relying on the idea that these holes were gonna line up?
Well, I mean,
It
in its defense, it wasn't just that. I mean, that is ludicrous. I agree that, it needs to be very convenient. But the person who constructed the plan and did all of the measurements was the smartest person in the group, which was Dustin. Which is why we see them say numerous times leading into that scene, hopefully Dustin's right, or, hopefully he's not wrong, or whatever may have you. So, yeah, I agree. It's ludicrous. But they made it believable within the context of the show itself because it is the smartest character that devised the plan. So little leeway there, little leeway.
Yeah, I'm giving a little leeway. Just bring a ladder, right? Like, don't just hope that you can physically touch the rim of this thing and not fall to your death. Anyway, so they get into Dimension X, and we said this in our last podcast, but this was not developed at all. This fucking New Mexico hellscape. It's just it's
No,
just a desert. It's not interesting. It's not toxic. It doesn't have any special creatures in it other than the Mind Flayer. There's nothing unique about it. It's paper thin. It is not very interesting. It doesn't feel particularly ancient or mysterious. It doesn't evoke any kind of imagination on the part of the audience. It's just yeah, it's Mexico from Breaking Bad. We're gonna throw
well,
that tint on it and hope nobody notices.
well, it's like it's funny too, because being as I guess critical as I am, and the lens that I look through, some of the followers of the channel are just brilliant and take that like three steps more. I had somebody comment and said like, "How do we know this place has breathable air? Where's the water source? Like, how is this place sustain? How does it sustain any kind of like how are this group of humans, humans going through this dimension, how are they breathing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but you got a point. Like, none of
Well,
that
how
was
about how
established.
about the yeah, that's a great point, but how do they know that they're gonna appear on the proper side of the planet?
Yeah,
Like
right.
this is a
How
this is
big
a
is this
world,
place?
right? Like you could yeah, how big is it and how far do you need to go? Like hopefully it's in walking distance. And luckily it is, of course. Because that's where you're going. And they had no idea where they're going, right? Like I
No.
mean was Will using his mind flayer powers to guess where it was? I'm assuming so, right? But I
Oh,
don't
the
know. They
neck
don't really
tingle.
explain that. They don't. There's no tingle leading him to the right direction. I don't know. It's like, of course they're right there, right? Like, oh, it's just no one brought a water bottle.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're right though. I mean, how do we, the thing that I don't understand is like, how the fuck did this place get established? I mean, we're gonna get a little bit further along and talk about that. But it's a big point of contention with me. It's like, how did any of this shit come to be? You know, I, I get that maybe it was cosmically, whatever. Keep going, just before that little vein in my forehead starts popping
Brave
out.
a breaks. Well, I to come back to the before I'll pump the brakes a little bit. Just before we get going any further, I think we need to kind of look back on Vecna's plan a little bit here, right? Because we know that he's gathering these children in order to be kind of like a battery to charge his powers so he can bring these dimensions together, right?
Hmm.
But why didn't he grab these kids earlier? What was the point of the tunnels? Why did he, do the body snatching thing in season 3? And why did he open the portal in season 4? Like what was this all for? What was he trying to do? It kept seeming like, the upside down was constantly trying to come into our world.
Right.
There's this constant threat from the Mind Flayer, the dimension opening up, and every season essentially, except for season 5, is to stop the Upside Down from entering. It's always to close the gate in time
Right.
or stop it from opening. But they just completely dropped this idea in season 5. Like, we're just switching over to the Dimension X thing now, and it makes everything really questionable as to what the Mind Flayer was trying to do, what Vecna was trying to do. Yeah,
Why 12 kids? Why
yeah.
12?
Yeah,
Like, why?
why does
And
that work?
like, there's little questions like that. I mean, I just got through doing a video prior to this called, 3 reasons why season 5 sucked. And even though, like I said, I'm in the middle on it, that was one of the big plot holes there. And it's like, you've got 8 episodes and 10 hours of runtime, at least that. And I expect all of this to be filled in. And this was Vecna's big grand plan, and he has to abduct 12 kids. Why 12? Why couldn't it have been 6? Why couldn't it have been 4? Like, why specifically 12? And they never tell us. It's just, dude, I don't get it. Vecna sucks.
Well,
I'm doing a whole
yeah,
video on him tomorrow. He sucks. He's terrible.
I covered him in my first video on season 5, and he's a terrible villain, terrible villain.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, again, because his plan doesn't make sense. In season 1, why didn't he take 12 kids instead of just Will?
Hmm.
Like, why did he? Not explained. But anyway, so the group is in Dimension X. They're wandering around, and a lot of people have pointed this out. But why is everyone unprepared completely almost? Instead, besides Nancy, she's got all the guns. Like, everyone's defenseless except her. I mean, sure, Jonathan's got a flamethrower, and Robin has some Molotov cocktails, but other than that, I mean, like, fucking Dustin and Steve are using spears. I mean,
Hmm.
like, why not give them guns?
Why does she have it? She hands a gun to Mike, and it's a flare gun. Why do you have a
Yeah.
flare gun? The fuck purpose does that serve? What are you gonna? What? I'm in trouble. I'm over here. You can just tell where you're at by the giant spider thing that's coming out. Like, that was stupid. And then even the presence of, which I understand what you're saying. Like, she has the only guns, but the guns are not going to do anything. Did you see the fucking Godzilla sized spider? It's not going to do shit against that thing. So, but I agree though. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why they were so unprepared and why. And it's a bunch of callbacks. Fucking Lucas having the Molotov cocktail is a throwback to season 3 when it happens in the mall, and of course they're up top attacking it like they did
Hmm.
then. The spears obviously was calling back to Eddie and Dustin fighting off the demo bats with spears and stuff like that. I get, but that's stupid. That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Well, especially because, we talked about this before, but, these guys have been trained essentially to do covert operations against military. They
Hmm.
would all have firearm training. Like, Hopper
100%.
and Nancy would be they would be doing the drills on shooting guns at all times. Like, you'd be doing it every day, every other day. They'd be preparing themselves for a full out collision with the military at some point.
Yeah.
So they should all be carrying. They should all have
You
weapons.
you
They
don't
should all
just
have
have
guns.
Hopper. You have a Green Beret and a Vietnam combat vet. That is impressive. You have somebody that literally knows their shit. And yeah, nobody has guns. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and Nancy, who's like, fucking female Rambo, and Sarah Connor.
Right, right.
She's all the she's Ripley and all these 80s action stars all wrapped into one. Uh but yeah, and also, I mean, you mentioned how the M16 wouldn't hurt the Mind Flayer, and I know we're cutting ahead a little bit, but it does hurt the Mind Flayer for some reason, which is a whole problem with consistency when it comes to the creatures this season, especially where the Demogorgon and Vecna are bulletproof,
Hmm.
but then the giant city-sized block creature gets annoyed or hurt by M16 rounds. Like, what? What? Why?
As a fire
How does that even happen?
as a firearm expert of sorts, just because of what I did in the military, I guess it comes with a certain amount of expertise, especially being around the M16. That's an M16 that's prior to the 90s. That gun is going to hurt Nancy more than it's going to hurt the Mind Flayer, considering she's like 90 pounds, and that thing is probably smacking bone every time she she fires. So she's just not affected at all by it. Watching this 90-pound woman just lay into this thing with it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Even me, I'm 6'8", 250 pounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be showing some kind of recoil or whatever it may have you when I'm firing this weapon. Not Nancy. No, 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 not her. No.
Yeah, no, she's just too damn woman. Uh, so okay, let's just let's just get Vecna and the kids storyline out of the way
Okay.
because it is painful, and I don't want to spend any more time on it than we have to. But okay, so they're in the dreamscape, and after some running around, we see Henry go through the trials of his backstory. Right, so he can't enter this cave because it hurts so much to remember it. Yet he gets over it to hunt down Holly. They get to the cave, the mine shaft, where we saw, this guy, the strange guy with a briefcase, and he gets shot in the hand,
Let me
and
stop you there.
it's this whole scene, right?
Let me
Yeah.
let me stop you there because you skipped over something that was pretty important to me because I called it. I called that shit in my episode 7 review. So in episode
Okay. Okay. Okay.
in episode 7, we see Vecna sitting up in Dimension X, right? And Holly is falling through the sky in the upside down. And this dude like force chokes her ass, like force pulls her not only from miles away, right? Not only from miles away through the sky, but through dimensions and gets her back up to Dimension X. Meanwhile, he happens to catch her in the cave and is dragging her back. And that fat bitch fucking Derek was able to overpower him. He pulled Holly into the cave. I'm like,
Yeah, we did see that.
this dude is like he's pretty much like an interdimensional cosmic god that has like all these force powers and shit. But then fucking fat Derek over there was like, nah, son, playing tug of war with Holly and just and beats him what's the like a challenge of strength. Like the hell? But continue, please.
Oh no, I that bothered the fuck out of me. Well, I mean, there's actually two problems with Derek here in this plot line. The second one being that the kids get stuck in the mine shaft, and we saw in a previous episode Max and Holly really struggle to get through this hole
I know what you're
to
gonna
get
say.
out into the next dream sequence. And I said I when I was watching, I was like, oh, Derek won't fit, and there's going to be a problem. And Vecna's going to catch up to them. He just gets through, and I guess they couldn't fat shame him. Like they couldn't bring that '80s nostalgia into the story.
I like Derek. I actually like his arc. I like how he went from like a dickhead bully to like really getting humbled and scared the shit out of him to the point where he's like, okay, you guys are right. Like I think he had a pretty decent arc there. But I agree with you. He's a fat bitch. There's no way he's fit through that tiny ass hole. There's no way he's overpowering an interdimensional god. It's just not gonna happen.
No, I mean, well, Vecna is thoroughly neutered as a villain. He's beaten at every opportunity, and like, yeah, it gets to the point where a child can overpower him and escape.
Yep.
Like he can't do it. He can't use all of his powers that he would be able to use at any point because the plot just doesn't want him to, I guess. So
Well,
yeah, he ends up being a real shit villain by
well,
the end of the story. I mean,
here's something I'll touch on real quick because I'm gonna do it in my video tomorrow. So it's very obvious that Vecna is kind of a Freddy Krueger type villain. And so when they're inside of his mind like that, it's essentially like the dream world. There has never been a time where Freddy has ever got his ass whipped in a physical altercation within the world that he created. I want someone to explain to me how Vecna is able to be overpowered within his own mind. How the fuck you make the rules? How is that happening? But go.
by children, by children, by children. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but
Right,
yes,
right.
by children, by a little fat kid. He gets beaten in his own realm, in his domain, the world he created in his mind that he rules,
Right.
that he has power over. He can alter anything he wants. It's his memories, but yeah, okay. Why would you put somebody in a dream world that has this great like escape as well? Like hey, I'm gonna put you in the spot that's just kind of like down through the woods there. See that bit? Yeah, I can't enter that spot. It's a crippling nightmare for me. And then even past that is another crippling nightmare, and it give you a huge opportunity to escape by dream prison. So, move the dream prison.
Right.
But okay, so getting back into the mine shaft, so Henry catches up, and he relives this memory of touching this magical stone that I'm sure has a lot of explanation in the stupid fucking play that Netflix desperately wants us all
No,
to
no,
watch, but
sir. No, sir.
it doesn't.
It's gonna be in the new spinoff. Apparently, the animated spinoff that's coming here in a couple of months. The Duffer Brothers were like, "Oh, we're gonna explain what that is," and I just brought this up in my video. Fuck you! You had 8 episodes in 10 hours. Tell me now. I'm not watching some dumbass spinoff. Tell me what the fuck that thing is right in front of my face now.
I swear to God, I heard the Duffer Brothers say that there won't be any spin-offs, that this is gonna be, like,
They
the end of the
did
story.
back in
They
2022.
they did, right? Yeah, like, they're like, "No spin-offs." And I was like, "No way Netflix isn't gonna juice this for
Hmm.
every penny it's got," they're gonna, like, squeeze every little penny out of this fucking story.
Well, I
And
think
they
it's
are. There you go.
let's see here. When is this? And me, go ahead and keep going, and I'll just interject when the animated series comes out. It comes out this year.
Damn, okay. And then they also have a book coming out with, Nancy and, uh is it Robin? Yeah, Nancy and
No,
Robin have a
it's actually
book.
yeah, it's this year. It's called the Stranger Things Tales from '85. It just says coming Netflix in 2026, set between the winter of '85 and seasons 2 and 3. So yep, and all the characters are coming back, but they're not being voiced by the original actors. So there's that. Duffer Brothers
Okay.
just suck a dick.
Okay, so well then so this rock is a setup for a new show, I guess. And and Vecna touches it and then he turns into Vecna. And we have this scene with Will where he's like, "Oh my god, it wasn't your fault. You're a victim just like me and oh, I'm gay, by the way." and and the so there's this reveal, right? That Henry is not the bad guy. He was a victim of the Mind Flayer, just like everyone else. And it seems like it's going to be a character shift, and it's going to be this big mic drop where it's like, "Oh, hey, he's going to join the good guys," and then he's like, "Nope, actually, I was evil the whole time. I actually agree with the Mind Flayer. We are one." And it kind of they're acting like this is a big shock, but it comes down to yes, we knew that. Like, this isn't a reveal. We knew you were evil, and we thought you were evil the whole time. So you kind of just built up this thing that didn't have any payoff
Well,
because
I have to
you just
disagree.
went back on it immediately.
I have to disagree here because I haven't seen the stage play because Netflix is fucking stupid and won't put it on their platform. You have to see it, obviously Broadway, London, wherever the hell. But from what I know of it is that within the play, Henry is kind of established almost as like an anti-hero. That it really wasn't his fault all along that he was manipulated by the Mind Flayer. So it actually came as a shock to me knowing that information. So I'm like, oh, and you got to think too, the modern trend of taking classic villains and being like, oh no, they're actually not really villains, they're just misunderstood. That's a trope nowadays. So I was actually surprised that they stuck the landing and was like, no, we're not doing that. He actually does suck ass. He really is a bad dude. So for me, I was surprised not because of the writing of the show, but because I expected them to do the trend that everybody else has done.
Okay, fair enough. I think this will be a point where we disagree because I think this is a utter lack of payoff in terms of like they've built this idea up a little bit throughout this season that he's not as evil as you think he is because they keep going through these flashbacks and you're going to be like, "Oh, you're going to feel bad for him at some point." This all felt so random, this whole mine shaft situation, and then the reveal that he's actually, he might not be evil, but okay, no, he is actually evil, and he's committing to being evil. He's not a good guy. I think it took away from the whole redemption thing, uh, or this fake out. It just really didn't like I don't know. It didn't fulfill me in the story, and it didn't give him an arc. Like he's just evil, and then he might not be evil, but he's evil. That's kind of what the
I
arc
don't know
is.
if it goes the way you wanted it to be kind of a redemption arc. It falls right into the modern tropes that we've been getting. Where the guy's not really a villain; he's just a misunderstood anti-hero. So I think no matter, I mean, maybe that's the better point to make. No matter what they did, because of the setup that they themselves created, there was never going to be an efficient, or a good payoff. Maybe that's the point
Yeah,
there.
well, I'll clarify. I don't mind that he's evil. I don't mind that like your bad guy is the bad guy. That's fine. But don't have this weird arc where he's set up to be not the bad guy, but then you don't fulfill that. I mean, like there is story structure you need to follow if you're going to set these things up. They need to be fulfilled. Now, I don't necessarily want him to be this anti-hero character and have him be redeemed, but because they set that up, I want to follow through with that because it kind of just goes against the grain of the story, and it feels like they don't know what they want. Like they want, like they want this kind of fake out, and I think there's a general lack of payoff in the story in general. Uh, so I think this is just one of the things that adds to that for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I don't think that it's just like with a lot of the writing and a lot of the conclusions they come to. in this episode. I don't think there's any way to make everybody happy. But the thing is, I don't think they even made the majority happy. Like they played it. Someone in my comment section said that they played it safe, and safe withstands the test of time. And I'm like, you know what? I agree with that.
Yeah, they definitely played it safe. I mean, they did not kill anybody. They did not do anything controversial. Everyone lived at the end, even though like people were like, "Oh, is Elle alive or not?" I mean, yeah, she is obviously alive. They showed us that she's alive.
Well, it's not the fact that she is or she isn't. There is no definitive answer. It's the fact that they're cowards and left it open ended. You should have
Yeah,
given us
exactly.
something definitive. You should have.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, that's just completely goes against what they went with, which is they're like they're gonna pull every punch and not commit to anything if they can. Uh,
Well,
but so moving on to the oh sorry, unless you want to continue.
yeah, I'll actually lead us into something here because it's a big point of contention with me. We were talking about character deaths. Will should have died. Will should have died.
Dude,
He's attached to this hive mind to the point that not only does he feel the pain that Demogorgons feel as they're feeling it, not only is he so in touch with Vecna, he's able to assume control of his body and even at some points his thoughts. So he's like integrated into the hive mind. So I want somebody from Netflix to explain to me in an MLA style essay, how did Will not die when the Mind Flayer and Vecna died? There is no long lasting effect there. Everything else died with them, but he didn't. Why?
well they even Dustin even gives an explanation as to say that yeah, indeed, yes, everyone that's connected to the hive mind does die because he's like, well, the Demogorgons are attached to Vecna and Vecna's part of the hive mind, so everything will die. So you're right. That's what was explained to us. Why doesn't Will die too? It makes no sense.
Mhm.
I think, well, just in generally, there should have been a sacrifice necessary in order to defeat the villains.
Yeah.
Like they've been building to this for 5 seasons. This is like a godlike being that they're going up against. And nobody dies, not a single person. It's just a complete wash.
Hmm.
They totally win. I mean, we've been beating this drum for a while with the whole death thing, but uh, the Duffer Brothers said that they had the balls to say this isn't Game of Thrones. We're not going to have a red wedding. Not every character is going to die. This is a happy story or something. Along those lines.
Hmm.
It doesn't. You don't need to be Game of Thrones. You don't need to kill off every character in your story, but to establish stakes and like to create consequences,
Hmm.
yes, you absolutely do. You need to kill at least somebody besides the one character you bring in for the into the season to die. You need to
Hmm.
kill off somebody, and Will should have been dead. Jonathan should have been dead with Nancy in white paint. That would have been much more fulfilling. Steve could have died. There's a lot of characters you could kill off because you have so many of them
Hmm.
as cannon fodder. Just to establish some stakes. Like this is like to save the world. Somebody should sacrifice themselves for it. This isn't the Avengers, okay?
Right. Well, and
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people challenge that and say like, we don't need people to die, or it's just like you're just looking for something brutal or something gory. Like I've had people in the comment section say that, and it's like, okay, well, do this then. Go watch any thriller film that comes out this year, and instead of watching the whole film, I want you to go to the back 15 minutes, watch the back 15 minutes, make sure you note who all is still alive and what's going on, and then go back to the beginning and watch the whole film. And watch how stupid that is, because you know who's going to live, you know what's going to go down, you know what I'm saying, you know who's going to die, you know the sequence of events. So the rest of the film is going to feel kind of stupid because you know what the end result's going to be. That's how we feel watching Stranger Things. Outside of my one little slip up with Steve, you know everybody's going to live, so all this tension, all this suspense, all the action sequences, they don't matter. They're just spectacle because nobody's going to die.
yeah. Anyone who said I've gotten that in my comment section too. Anyone who says that has a complete lack of understanding of how stakes work in storytelling. Like, I think the good way to explain it is tension and stakes or consequences rather are like a water line, right?
Hmm.
And it can only rise to the level that you've established before, really, right?
Hmm.
Because if you've never killed anybody, if everyone's always survived, then there's no reason to think that anyone will die now. And that's exactly the problem Stranger Things has, is that I didn't think anyone was gonna die because nobody died before, besides the fucking characters that were meant to die because they were written into the story to do that.
Yeah.
So no one essential dies. So yeah, there's no real tension of anyone dying.
Mhm.
But if you have a show that is willing to kill off characters, then we know that that's what they're willing to do. So they've done it before; they can do it again, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you get that. Well, comparing it to Game of Thrones, unlike the Duffer Brothers, spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't seen season one, but a major character dies, right? Sean Bean gets his head cut off,
Yep.
and he was like the central character of the show pretty much, right? He was the biggest actor, and he was one of the central characters, and it was a big shock when he died. Like, it surprised the entire audience, and it hooked an entire audience into watching the show because we knew going forward, like, anybody could die. They'll kill anybody.
Mhm.
It's like a Quentin Tarantino film at the same
Yep.
time. Like,
Nobody's saying
you, he's at the drop of a dime, he'll kill his favorite characters. He'll kill anybody.
Wait,
So the tension is always super high.
I even had someone who had the audacity, and this person, I don't remember your name. I remember 95% of names because I read every comment. But the person who may be listening who commented this, you were so fucking stupid. I forgot your name. Guy comes in and says, "Well, can you name someone that died in the final film of Lord of the Rings?" And I'm like, first and foremost, that is a wild comparison to make. Like, and secondly, in Return of the King, King Theoden, who was the king of Rohan and a fan favorite character, he gets killed off, and then Gollum, who is arguably the most beloved and well written anti-hero characters in literary history, he also dies. So it's like, even in that comparison, that wild comparison you decided to make, you still didn't make any sense.
Well, also, I mean, you have to take that series as a whole, right? Because like they're all connected and play right into each other. It's like
Mhm.
essentially one big
You reminded me of
story.
that. You brought up
Eh,
Sean Bean from Game of Thrones, and I was like, "Oh, Sean Bean
Yeah,
also he
yeah. I
also
mean,
dies."
Boromir dies as well. Like,
Lord of
Boromir
the
is one of
Rings.
the Fellowship. He
Yep,
dies in the first movie, so
yep.
you know that like the tension is there because main characters do die.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a stupid, really stupid argument to say that you want characters to die for some sadistic reason. When it's very clear, we don't want them to die because I get off on watching characters die. I just want there to be tension,
Yeah.
and there is none,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, agreed.
that's a huge problem in the show. Um, but let's move forward to the actual battle, right? So the main characters stumble across the big evil Mind Flayer castle, and then it starts to come alive. And of course, 11 shows up just in the nick of time to have her big superhero moment. She does a big jump and then cuts through the creature and lands inside of him and has a psychic battle inside the Mind Flayer while everyone else on the outside kills it with handheld weapons. So let's get into this part of the story.
The power creep here,
It's a
man.
disaster to me, but how did you feel about it?
The power creep. Like, I do not think, just to establish this here, I do not think 11 is a Mary Sue, and I don't think that she's a girl boss. I think out of all the characters that we've seen in this show, she's had the most development. She's gotten her ass kicked the most, and she's had to survive and preserve herself the most. Not saying that some of her powers aren't ridiculous, because they are, but they're at least deserved in some aspects. However, I had a big issue with her going from, doing that obstacle course, right? And we see that she can kind of do like this like super jump thing. I'm like, okay, like that's kind of it's like a force jump. That's weird. All right, cool, whatever. Then we see it get worse as she gets to the military base in like episode 3 or 4, and she's able to jump over the fence. And I'm like, okay, it's gotten like, but that's weird. Okay, she's getting better at it. Then she comments in episode 8 that she's able to jump from the Hawkins lab to like boulders that are like fucking 20 miles away to fucking climb up to Dimension X. And then she's able to fucking jump directly into the heart of the Mind Flayer. And I'm like, hold up here. Like, I understand she's been well developed, she's figured out her powers and all that, but this shit all happened within like a span of like a month with her character. And it's like, can we calm down a little bit and like explain how she's able to do all of this so progressively and progress so much in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. I mean, also, how can she just rip the Mind Flayer apart like that? Like, how did how does that happen? Like, it should be a stronger creature that cannot be cut open so easily. Like, why doesn't she just cut it from fucking neck to navel? You know, like just rip its head off.
Yeah, right.
If you have the ability to cut through its chest so large that you can fit like a human in through it, then surely you can cut a hole through its head and kill it,
Hmm.
right? Well, yeah, but what we don't want to think about that. That's just
Don't ask questions.
questions for better showmakers. Better questions for better showmakers. Okay, so she goes through, has her little fight. Now, the ragtag group of people taking on the big beast. We knew this was going to happen, but the problem is that it happens in 5 seconds. They kill the Mind Flayer so easily. They had a harder time back in season 2, 3, and 4
Hmm.
with this thing. It happens in 5 seconds. They just get the flamethrowers out, burn it a bit, and then shoot it, and it's dead.
Yeah.
What was its plan getting to Earth? Like, what was the idea? Was the invasion supposed to happen, and then what if the military showed up with tanks and napalm and nuclear bombs?
But
Like,
they're
what
not.
was
But they're
the
not
idea?
going to, because the military. This is, oh boy, here we go. The military,
Yeah,
despite knowing that Vecna, he literally just walked in there and just ripped them a fucking new one. At the end of episode 4, despite them knowing that he exists and that these creature exists and these kids have been abducted, they're still obsessed with catching 11. And it's like, hello, like Vecna is obviously infinitely more dangerous to you guys. Why are you still worried about her? So, but I'll get too far off on that. Just keep going.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. We can come back to the army in a bit here. So, Vecna and 11 have their fight inside the dome, and yeah, it's just really easy for her. She beats him. They have a little bit of a scuffle, but he never gets over on her. She never really is in that great of peril, and she impales him, and that's it. That's the story. Fucking Vecna and the Mind Flayer die in about 5 seconds. The epilogue is longer than the fight by a long shot. There's really no anxiety in this show at all. I mean, how long is this fight? It's very short. Like,
It's less than
I
five
want to say,
minutes. If you piece it all together without
yeah.
like jumping sequences, it's less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it does not take very long. Like, and how did they get up on that cliff so quickly? Like they start off in this desert plain, and then Nancy's like, "I'll distract it. You guys go around and get on the cliffs." Like, those are some major cliffs. Like, that would take a while to get up there, and then Nancy outruns this thing somehow as well. Like, there's some really stupid bits in this, obviously. It's able to catch up to them initially in 5 seconds when they first arrive, but Nancy running on her own, yeah, she makes it into that canyon conveniently, of course,
Hmm.
and then pulls out the shotgun, but yeah.
Not to mention, she pulls out a shotgun and shoots a target that's more than like 50 yards away, which is going to be useless. Just point that out.
Yeah,
Well, she's got slugs
that
in there.
that
Well, she doesn't. So,
yeah, that fucking a deer shot, or that not the deer shot. She's got some duck shot in
yeah, yeah, right.
there. So after everyone's defeated, they make their way inside Epstein's island, and then they release the
Oh,
children.
great, demonetized. Thanks.
I can bleep it over.
There-
Well, okay, all right. I do have to kind of talk about this because it really bothered me. But what is with the imagery in this show, right? Like, how many times do we need to see a kid with a fucking big long thing going into their throats, and then the throbbing vagina above?
I don't even
um,
know what they're trying to say there. Like, I know that like it's like connecting them to the hive mind, but once you're already connected, like Will, you're connected. So I don't understand why they need like mind flayer juices being poured in. It's weird. It's never explained. I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why do they have to be connected to this central membrane? I don't know. But you're right. It's like oddly like weird. I don't want to say it's that S
yeah,
word, you know, because this is kids, but it kind of came off that way. I was like, this is like oddly. I even thought at one point, I'll try to say this without like saying anything weird. I even thought at one point what Vecna did to Will in his younger age was like that M word.
yeah,
I even
yeah,
thought it was
yeah.
like
No,
that,
no,
and I'm
no. I
like kind
know.
of alluding to that, and I was like, okay, like yeah, right, like I could kind of vibe with that. Like maybe that's what leads him, to believe. I don't know. It, I don't know how to I don't know how to explain it without like saying words that need to be censored, but I'm sure the audience, you guys, you get it. Like there's this weird
It's weird.
overarching connotation to this. You're like, nobody's addressing the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it's like, okay, captured children, cheek stroking, big things in their mouths.
It's fucked
It's like
up.
you keep showing it, stop showing it. I don't want to look at it anymore. Please stop. Okay, so they make it into the big arena. Vecna is conveniently impaled. He's not dead somehow. And we get Joyce to cut his head off. Now, we knew that, these people were connected from high school somehow, even though that
Hmm.
was a retcon.
Hmm.
Uh, there's no there's no fulfillment in the story when it comes to the flashbacks, really, with Vecna in high school. Like, they really try to hammer it home that Joyce and him knew each other somehow, or at least passed each other in the hallway.
Hmm.
But there's no real reference to it. Like these characters know each other seemingly probably pretty intimately,
Yeah.
since they were kids, and
Yeah.
there's just no recognition of that. And everyone in during the mid-season break, I remember I was complaining about how Vecna didn't kill Joyce when he had the chance, and obviously he's regretting it in this moment.
Hmm.
Uh, but everyone's like, well, he knew Joyce. It's probably going to be really important later that, like, she's serving a purpose, and so is Will, and all this stuff. Turns out to not be the case.
I even
He
saw
didn't
people
need
saying
them.
like Vecna is Will's dad, and I'm like, well, how the fuck did you get there? Like,
Yeah. No, I know. I saw that too. I saw that as well. It didn't make any sense.
yeah, I
But
agree with you though. There is a connection. We've seen the flashbacks, and again, Duffer Brothers. If we ever blow up, be big enough where you listen to our stuff. I'm not watching some fucking play. I'm not doing the Disney strategy where I have to watch a TV show and watch a fucking another film to understand this film. I'm not doing it. But you're right that they never address like Joyce knowing Henry. She never even drops a sign of like any kind of dialogue. She's not like, oh man, I didn't know that Vector was Henry Creel. Man, that motherfucker, he never got picked to be on the basketball team. She didn't even say anything like that. She just fucking, you know what I'm saying? They never acknowledge that they know one another at all, besides two small flashback sequences.
no, yeah, I really thought that was unfulfilling in the story, especially because they established that and then didn't do anything with it. But that's pretty typical of the show now.
Hmm.
Okay, so then we got the head cutting off scene. So Joyce, I mean, I forgot that she was in this episode for most of the time. She's just in the background. She didn't really do anything. I would like, when we see her help Will out because Will's like having a panic attack or whatever,
Hmm.
and he gets in his "I'm ready for Mike" stance on the on all fours there, and yeah, Jo- Joyce is just like, "I'll stay with him," and I was like, "Oh my god, she's there! Like, how did she?
Right? Why
Why
are you
is
letting
she
Nancy, who's
doing
half
this?"
your age, lead this group? Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
why didn't they leave Joyce with fucking Vicky and Max, right? Why do you need this fucking old woman with you on this dangerous mission into another dimension? She's only there for this. She's only here
Yeah.
to cut off his head. Like, that's all the reason.
Mhm.
Conveniently, she has a fucking axe. Like, what are we gonna use that for? Is she gonna be swinging?
I don't know. You're right. I'm sitting here thinking. I'm like kind of gathering that in my head. You're right. Like I'm going back through that scene. She doesn't do shit besides like be Will's cheerleader and then come in and chop Vecna's head off. She doesn't do anything else. You're right.
Yeah, no, she gets her one liner in, you fucked with the wrong family, and then she fucking cuts his head off. That's it.
You've just been terminated. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, in that moment, I did like it. Obviously, Joyce has been through the ringer on this one. I was like, okay, like for him to die that way, whatever. But then once you start looking at it like critically, you're like, yeah, like, and even from a story perspective, I don't even think it should have been her. It should have been Will that walked in there and gave him the final blow. Will's one's been getting fucked with since like minute one of this show. He should have walked in there and like drop kick Vecna's head off.
Totally, yeah. I don't know anyone really. I don't think Winona Ryder looks good swinging an axe either.
Bless her.
This-
God bless her.
but the other thing that bothered me about this was the lack of the consequences of this character. I mean, we talked about Vecna is not a really good villain, but they keep doing these flashbacks to all the things he's done to them, all these terrible things. They're they're alluding to all the pain that he's given them.
Mhm.
Uh, Most of it was pretty inconsequential. Like it's just them crying about stuff, even though he didn't do anything. Like he killed some nobodies. He killed Bob. He
No,
killed
justice from a
fucking
man, Sean Astin. Justice, though.
yeah,
Justice.
yeah.
Yeah.
We forgot Bob existed into this flashback, but yeah, he killed Bob. So what? I mean, like I don't know. Nothing of value really came from his experience with them. Like he didn't inflict damaging wounds that'll last forever. They all seem fine. Nobody dies. Like Will seems kind of over all of his trauma. They've all improved.
Yeah.
There's no like big losses fighting this guy. I mean, you lost some nobodies. Like Eddie was a cool character, sure,
Of
but
course. Yeah.
Bob was fine too. I mean, they're all just one note guys
Well,
that
I
were
kept
again in the show to die.
I kept telling my girl in the middle of this, like especially when we flash forward to like the epilogue or whatever. I'm like, these kids are gonna need therapy for the rest of their lives. Like, what? Could you
Oh
imagine
yeah,
living with all of
the
this? Like,
children. Yeah, they don't even try to like, hey, you guys should just go outside for a second. I'm gonna cut this guy's head off. It's
yeah, right.
just right with the axe. Hey, do you want to watch a public execution, kids?
I mean,
This is
just get everybody in
1880.
there. The older kids, the
Yeah.
young kids, it's just group therapy. Like everybody it's like upside down anonymous or something. Like, fuck, bro.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a real shame too that Hopper had no inclusion into this final battle. If you're gonna have everyone there, you're not gonna have the guy who's like the biggest gun in the entire show. He's the action star of Stranger Things, and you're not
Oh.
gonna have him show up.
Oh, dude. No, no, he's too busy getting his mind fucked with in that scene.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off because they established that Vecna could do that again. He's been able to do that since season 4, but they made sure to let us know he can still do it. And I'm sitting there questioning, why the fuck haven't you done this with literally anybody else this whole time? Like,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
oh,
Well, the idea that fucking Will came out of the closet to avoid getting mind fucked by Vecna. He's like, I don't want him to have it over me. I don't want him to like use it against me. And then he never even tries to.
yeah.
He doesn't even fucking say like there's no scene where he's like, hey everybody, Will's gay. And then he's like, I'm actually gay. I told everybody. I'm not afraid anymore. You hear me?
Yeah, he doesn't like. Yeah, that was a completely worthless scene. He doesn't even try to get in anybody's head because Eleven's pretty much on top of him the moment he gets in there. She gets in there, so it's like, yeah, that
Mm.
was real. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that in the last podcast episode. It was worthless anyway. I'm like, okay, your friends know you're a homo now. All right, cool. Well, here's your mom dying. Here's your sister dying, or whatever. Like, here's everybody dying. That what I'm saying? Just move to the next sphere. Like the fuck. It was just
Mhm.
stupid.
I totally agree. Yeah, I know. I know. They should have had a scene where Vecna did that to Will. That'd be great. He'd be like, "Hey, I came out. You can't have anything over me." And he's like, "Here's your mom dead." It's like, "Oh no, that's fucking horrifying." Uh,
Uh,
so okay, so the good guys win, the bad guys die, and then we have this little wrap up where they cross into the upside down back into Earth, and it looks like they're gonna win. They're gonna blow up the upside down. It's all very convenient, la di da. For some reason, nobody thought that the army would be waiting on the other side of this portal. Like, did they not really consider that? Where they're like, yeah,
I
we
mean,
shot our way in here. They're definitely not gonna care when we come back.
let's
Like,
offended. Let's be honest with ourselves here. The military has been the most dumb fucking element of this show so far. I didn't expect them to be there. So I'm like, they've made every stupid decision so far. Let's just add another one to it, and they're not gonna be there at the exit when they come out. Like, the military is just so dumb. It makes no sense.
I know. I mean, like, I loved it when they shot their way into the upside down. Like when they came back, they barged in. Nancy killed 3 guys and didn't think about it. The guy's got his foot up on the desk. He's like looking at a magazine, even though fucking the whole battalion's been wiped out. They've been under attack. There's demogorgons wandering around. They have psychic children that they're looking for, and there's a monster out there. He's like, yeah, I can have my feet up. I'm looking at a magazine. I'm fine.
Yeah, complacency
I don't care.
kills. I don't know how the fuck they got a chopper into the upside down. Like that
Ugh.
pilot has to be the best pilot that's ever existed. Like I mean, there was space, it was a big portal, but do you have any idea how hard it is to maneuver an attack chopper like an Apache? It is very difficult. But there's that attack chopper sitting there with Murray and Hopper and 11, and then expendable character number 147. I can't remember her name. Fucking yeah, and I'm like, how the hell did you get that in there? Has that been in there the whole time? Like that would have been important.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of why isn't the upside down anymore?
Why is it stuck in that
You
particular
know,
time period?
how can they drive? Wouldn't it just fall? Like when it like they would drive out into it and then it would just crash upside down on the upside down, right? Like the way like we saw in season 4 that the portal through Eddie's roof was literally upside down. Like they had to crawl through and then they fell into it naturally because gravity shifted.
Mhm.
But in this season, it's just yeah, you can drive right through. It all lines up perfectly. It's
Yeah, hang
fine.
out. Yeah, man. We got a pool over here, man. We got some jacuzzis, This over here, this is our welcome center. Make sure you check in, get your
I,
room key, bro. Like, like what?
I saw a comment on my channel. Someone said if the Stranger Things went on any longer, the Upside Down would have been gentrified.
I just no, like
um,
even that like the toxins and all. We talked about that before too. Like this used to be like a hellscape, like toxins
yeah.
and fucking demonic creatures and shit running around. Now you can just go on vacation in there. Nobody's gonna give a shit.
Oh yeah, they just they spawn from one location to the next. They're like, yeah, we're gonna walk it, and it's fine,
Hmm.
no problem.
Yeah.
What happened to the bats? Where all the bats? Where all the Demogorgons?
What
I
happened?
mean,
What
going
happened to?
back to the fight for a second.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, good. You're good. Good, good, good.
Going back to the fight for a second, where's the Demogorgons? Where's the Demodogs? Where are the bats? Like why are you so undefended? Like you're doing an interdimensional invasion, yet when like the thing you're actually going to battle, you don't summon the creatures that you can summon at will?
Yeah, use them as meat
Like where are the
shields.
Demogorgons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, 10 Demogorgons would take out all these kids.
Yep.
Like like 11's inside the big beast thing. There's no way that she's gonna save them. They could the Demogorgons would fucking make mincemeat. We saw them cut through like all those soldiers like easy peasy. Like they pop out of the walls. They can do whatever they want. They could kill everybody, and yet they're conveniently not there.
Yeah, like and here's another thing that I was noticing too. So in prior seasons, right? You didn't want to step anywhere in the upside down, like on a tentacle or like a tree or anything like that, because it's all part of a hive mind, right? And we've seen in previous seasons that if you do that, if you connect or touch or whatever, it's almost like an alarm. Like a Vecna can see exactly where you. Actually, I think it is. It's in the Creel House fight in season 4. Robin, Nancy,
Yeah.
and whoever else I can remember, they were actively trying to avoid tentacles so that way Vecna wouldn't know they were there. But now these kids are like leisurely strolling through the upside down and like, fucking doing a little bit of hop skip and listen to, music and shit. And it's like, what happened to that threat? Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me that you didn't trip on anything or touch anything or whatever to let, Vecna know that you're there. Even the same thing with the military. The military has captured a certain portion of the tentacles or whatever the hentai monster things, whatever the fuck it is, that they have stored inside their base and they're like hurting and experimenting on it. Vecna would know they're there. Why are they like what? So is he purposely not attacking them? Like it's this shit gets so convoluted so quickly, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, the fact that there's again lack of fulfillment or follow through, the fact that they have this dilemma set up where Vecna's now assaulted the military and and they never address it really. Like they do some investigating. We see Linda Hamilton like ask the colonel what happened, but beyond that, she doesn't really seem to give a shit. She's like, yeah, whatever,
Mhm.
it's fine. We're not at war. I don't know. I'm looking for 11. I don't really care. It's like, what? You have a way bigger threat. And the guy that, like, because they want to experiment on 11 to get her powers to make more of them. Vecna would be a great candidate for that. I mean, not only does he have powers, but he's like a mutant. Like,
Yeah,
not like, you can make super soldiers out of this guy.
yeah.
So everyone comes back through the portal. The military's waiting for them. They get captured really quickly, and then we have this fake out death with 11, and we have this moment between Mike and her in the dream world. And so I have some questions. Right? So we know that the big microphone things are on that fuck with 11's powers. And
Hmm.
so we get the explanation at the end of the episode that it was Callie, who is somehow still alive after being shot in the stomach, was using her powers to trick everyone into thinking that she was, there, but she wasn't there. Okay, fine. But if the thing is on and her powers are nullified, how is she entering Mike's mind here? Right?
Right.
Like, did she run away and escape before this? Like, did she get a distance and then she activated this whole mind thing?
I don't know.
And then she lied to him?
I don't know they because they leave it so open ended. Do we even know that that's 11? How do we know that's not like Callie? I don't know the expendable character number 147. How do we not know that's like I don't know. I have no idea because they decided to fuck with us in the last 5 minutes of the finale and go, "Ooh, maybe 11 did survive." You pieces of shit.
Well, I totally agree with you. I think the lack of follow through is really annoying. I think let's put a pin in the whole 11 trick thing because that's its own topic. But I think the biggest problem for me right here in this part of the episode is how should I put this?
Finn Wolfhard really
Uh,
severely overacting. Nobody cries that hard.
yeah, it's the it's the relationship, man. It's very wooden. They do not have any chemistry. It felt so fake. Like throughout this entire season, Mike and Eleven and Joyce and Hopper and Jonathan and Nancy, all of them have no chemistry. I do not feel like connected to their relationship. I don't feel like they're I don't know. It's not very fulfilling, like, especially Joyce and Hopper, but also like, oh man, 11 with her fucking lips. Like, I don't know what Millie Bobby Brown was doing this season, but she did not give a fuck. Like, she probably just wants to stop acting at this point because she just does not seem to really care. It felt like every scene she was in was phoned in. I mean, she's a real meme now, right? Like
Oh,
with
she
her
took to
lips and
Facebook.
stuff.
I don't
Like,
know if you follow her on social media. She took to Facebook and was talking about the what young women face in the industry and how people were talking about her looks and all that. And it's like, honey, look, like I'm on your side. Like I don't think. I mean, she looks older, but I still think she's attractive. She doesn't look like she's 16, okay? But I still think she's attractive, and she seems to be a pretty nice person off camera. But honey, with all the positive being thrown your way, you're gonna get some negative. You don't need to make a whole Facebook video talking about what young women go through in the industry. Okay, like this is what's going to happen.
well, my point isn't that she's ugly or needs to look better necessarily. It's just don't get lip filler and when you're trying to be a 16-year-old in the 1980s, like it just takes me right out. And then also the bad acting. She just does not seem to care.
No,
Like I don't know. Like we only see them kiss once this season. There's barely any hugging. They don't really seem to interact that much. Like even when Mike says goodbye to her at the beginning of this episode, when they start their plan, she just doesn't say anything to him. She just walks
right?
away. Like there's no real love there. I don't feel the relationship. Uh, so yeah, I think that was really hollow. It didn't really fulfill me. I was like, damn, I do not care at this point about any of these relationships, and so this whole drawn out bit where they say goodbye to each other just was not hitting it for me. And I knew she was gonna live. I knew she was gonna come back. I knew it was
Yeah,
gonna be a fake out. It was like, yeah, it was all
yeah.
stupid.
Well,
Um,
on that note too, let me I'm gonna let me flip these birds real quick into the camera. So there was a specific subsection of Reddit that was doing this Byler thing. I don't know if you heard about it or not. Byler. It was shipping both Mike and Will that they were going to get together by the end of the show. And I'm gonna let you people know if you happen to be listening this far, you can lick both of my ass cheeks. That didn't fucking happen. Go fuck yourselves. Anyway, move forward.
okay, so the other moral implication, sorry, the main issue of the morality of this whole plan that they have about blowing up the Upside Down is that we know now that there are a bunch of pregnant women in the Upside Down
Yeah, I brought
that
that
have
up.
been
Yep.
experimented on and manipulated and almost killed or whatever, and they just killed them.
Yep. Whatever
They
happened to them? Where'd they go?
not even mentioned, not even
Ah.
brought up at all. Yeah, just gone. They are literally murdering pregnant women.
Yep.
There's no mention of it. They don't care.
Yeah, I brought that up in the video I just posted, like the 3 reasons, that I thought the season sucked, for people that were interested in it, is like the plot holes. And it's like they introduce this shit for like minute scenes, and then they just act like it doesn't exist ever again. And it's like the pregnant women is a big example of that. It's like you went through this whole storyline, had expendable character number 147 talk about how her blood was being created or was being siphoned to create these. And there's like a whole bunch of pregnant women back at this base, not to mention any other military members that may be in there. And these people are now like, they get no judgment, they get no say. They're just dead. Like,
Oh, it's so bad. Okay. Okay, so 11 kills herself supposedly. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Probably get demonetized. 11
we're
commits a
way
suey
past that at this
wooey.
point.
Eh, 11 commits a suey wooey, and we do a flash forward 18 months into the future, and everyone's back at school. The town's fine. Everyone's gotten over all this stuff, and this is the Hopper of it all. Let's talk about Hopper for a second. So this guy has murdered, I don't know how many American soldiers at this point, but it's at least a baker's dozen, and totally fine. Yeah, yeah. I guess after Linda Hamilton captures Hopper and everybody for committing crimes against the government of the United States, she just lets them go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to see the scene that they cut out where, so like 11 dies in the Upside Down, the portal closes, it's all over. Do they just kind of shrug their shoulders and they're like, all right, well, that was all for nothing?
All right, boys, let's go home. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
like what
agree.
the fuck?
Especially being a military guy myself, like, and I understand that this is a science fiction show, but it's like I'm applying the rules in which the show created within itself. There's no shot in hell that they aren't detained, questioned. I would even say like interrogated using some means, because there's some shit that went down in there. I mean, for God's sakes, it was a portal to another world that just imploded. The military is going to have questions. None of that happened. They didn't stay around. We did the 18-month, flash forward. There is no presence. There's no vehicles, no soldiers, no nothing. World War II happened 80 years ago, and we're still in Germany. The United States is still and has a presence in Germany. You mean to tell me there was an extraterrestrial portal in the middle of this town? The military's like, it's okay, whatever. We're just gonna head back to DC, boys. Like, no.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh, also the fact that Linda Hamilton literally got in a fight with Hopper. He pistol whipped her.
hmm
Like you think she's just gonna let that go? She's that type of person. She's just like, yeah, I'm bigger than this. You go be sheriff.
No,
You
not
know,
not just be
and
sheriff.
also,
You get a promotion.
yeah. Also, how did they, so not okay, so yeah, they have to be willing to work with Hopper here. It's not even low, they just let him go. They would have to reinstate his identity because everyone thought he was dead. They would have to, make some explanation as to how he returned to the town.
hmm
People would be wondering why he's back, like how he'd be alive. It really just falls apart. Like it does not make any sense. Like what's everyone thinking in this town? Like we thought you were dead. Why? What happened? Would he say, I went to a gulag in Russia and Joyce came and got me. And then I was kind of hiding out from the government for a while and I killed a bunch of soldiers, went to another dimension. And then when I came back, I got a promotion. It was fine.
Right, and it's like I'm a guy from a very small town down south, very small. Well, it used to be, and when it was kind of the story was confined to just like our main characters, like just the main people that you see. It's kind of I can kind of get behind, like, okay, they keep it contained to them and nobody else knows about it. But now you've got 12 other kids, 12 other families involved, the Wheelers, the whole fucking nine. And then the show tries to explain it away and go, oh, this was the site of an earthquake. That's what happened. Bro, in a small town like that, this shit is going to spread like wildfire. Nobody's going to believe this shit that it was a fucking earthquake. You know what I'm saying? Kids are getting abducted left and right. There was military shit going in and out. There was big trucks being toppled and portals being opened. Like, how stupid are these people in Hawkins? Pardon me, they deserved it. All this shit they've gotten over the last 5 seasons, this is the dumbest town in America. They deserve every bit of it. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, no, Hawkins is a hellhole. It's a fucking awful place. I mean, especially after season 4 with the whole, we're gonna get up in arms and start, killing children. because a high school student had enough charisma to rally us all together in one speech. Fuck off with all these
Yeah,
people.
all of
I
us
would not
deserved
stay here.
a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so if you've noticed like pauses or breaks, so the Finn and I were talking about it, and there's just too much shit to go over, especially with the epilogue. So what we're gonna do is this particular video has been about all the stupid shit that happened during the fight sequence. We're gonna do a separate video. So for the folks who are still listening, make sure to it should come pretty soon after this one. Just make sure you check it out as well. And we're gonna talk about the epilogue and how these characters' stories end and all of that. So, Offended, before we sign off and go and do, I guess, continue the conversation, make a second video, you got anything else you want to say, man?
Yeah, well, just come check out our channels. Me and Toller make a lot of content on Stranger Things and other shows that we don't like and do like. So,
We're just a bunch of
so
haters.
please, yeah, yeah. Well, me more than you, but yeah. So please leave a like and subscribe to both of us. We appreciate your attention. We appreciate you spending your time listening to us. So thank you so much for spending your time here. And please listen to the next video. We're going to talk about the finale and the epilogue, and it's going to be horrible. So let's get into that.
All right, we appreciate you guys. Take care.